what can parents who have learning disabilities do to help their kids? Um, because so one of the things that the topics came up was uh, there's normal and then there's mental illness and recognizing there's mental illness because you can't have normal if somebody has uh, mental handicap or mental illness of some sort. That illness or handicap gets in the way of them thinking, acting, operating normal. The it's it's not the fault of the parents. It's not the fault of the child. That that if they have a maladjusted parent who is unfamiliar with a good, uh, okay, so we have television, which gives us this idea of what is a normal life, a normal household. The thing to remember is that's not normal. That's the average. That's what everyone can agree on is like, okay, that seems normal. That seems like, what everybody would have. And it's from that, sort of normalcy that these divergent and dramatic storylines, happen and occur. So we got to be careful that we don't get um, the sucked into this idea that um, life has to be a certain way, and behaviors have to follow certain recognizable patterns. Because everyone's different, how people operate and live is different. So, because in the case of my parents, what I'm noticing is they both just basically have some sort of learning disability. And how do I know this? Because when I'm trying to take over for them or clean up for them, it's like, this is odd. This is weird. Like, what's going on here? Why, this does not seem efficient. This does not seem straightforward. Like, why are all these steps? And it's like, okay, the, and because if you grow up, what you grew up with feels normal. What you grew up with seems normal. So how do you help your parents, or like, so how do you as a child, or how do the parents figure out what to do for their kids? And I think this is where my parents were smart in that they got me enrolled in several activities growing up. So youth sports, um, so t-ball, soccer. Um, the, I got hit in the face by a baseball, so that kind of turned me off of that. But um, the and then Boy Scouts later on. So like these are like some basic social act things. The soccer they kept pushing, and I think that was good. That was good because it did force me to be around people in a social setting. It's not school. It's not because the school is this unique situation where it's because back in the day, school did feel like prison, and the mentality of a lot of people was that school was kind of like a prison that kids had to endure. And the problem with that is that, well, kids aren't fully understanding the learning part. They're just like, oh, this is just the prison that we're forced to be in, that we're forced to participate in. The see, so the Boy Scouts help. Um, but in my case, like they were still old, like this undiagnosed autism, the social anxiety, this fear. So like today, in my 40s, as I'm interacting with people and parents and their kids, and it's like, oh yeah, this kid, they're so anxious, they are afraid to talk to the staff and the clerk at restaurants, even to get a straw or a napkin or whatever. And it's like, huh? Yeah, okay. Aren't these the same kids that will go online and if you have a microphone will trash talk, people, strangers they don't know. But what I think helps is that you encourage the kids to participate and to socialize in different things, even things they're not comfortable with. Because that's the thing about me too, is that I pushed back and I was hesitant and scared and just didn't want to, engage. And I think a big part of that was the fact that it's like, just like, I recognize there's something weird and different, unique about me, or like I feel different, or I'm just having trouble connecting. I just can't understand it. I don't recognize it, but I'm smart enough to recognize there's something, but not wise enough and experienced enough to fully recognize that, hey, this could be a problem, or this is what's going on. Um, so what, because like for my own journey, I I didn't date till like right before I went off to college, and even in college, it's like it was very sparse. Chat rooms did help me in terms of finally making the connection to people, but the thing is that I should have been making connections with the people I was at college with, not online with people, hundreds of miles away, usually. And that was my failure to fully grasp and just understand like what I'm doing wrong. Um, the like what possibly could have helped was joining a fraternity, because then the fraternity would have been like, oh, hey, you need some help with the social skills. Um, at the time, this is before fraternities were keen to neurodivergence, and because I'm coming from, it's amazing how the '80s had this sort of outlook, but it created these archetypes, and people just kept following these archetypes. So Revenge of the Nerds was this sort of like, oh, we don't want the nerds, involved with stuff. Um, and the follow what do the follow up movies to Revenge of the Nerds show? Uh, Going down the timeline, well, these are the geniuses who they got well paying jobs. So, but then again, fraternities gets you those well paying jobs. Um, the I graduated college, but I didn't get the full experience out of it, and that's because of the fear and the lack of, just enthusiasm to do things and to engage. It's like, undiagnosed depression at that time too. So it's like, okay, I'm doing the bare minimum. That's all I got to do. I don't need to do any more because I'm supposed to achieve this, and that's it. I can play video games, and that takes care of my anxiety, and I don't have to worry about anything else. I'm lonely. I guess I'll try flirting here and there, and the early dating apps and stuff like that. But it was a struggle. Um, so I joined the military, and the reason why I joined the military was for jobs. There was a lack of jobs opportunities where I live. A lot of people join the military where I'm from, so I was like, okay. And the it was interesting because I start meeting people like me and encountering people who experience life and deal with the same struggles that I do. Um, and what's wild is, because of the nature of basic training in the Army, it helps you get rid of the fear and instill the sense of invincibility within you. Um, so you have a lot of self confidence, um, and that helps remove. So if you have self confidence in you, that's instilled within you by your experiences, and like, okay, I'm working hard, I'm doing this, I push myself, and I've reached these limits, and like where I was before and where I am now, it's like, oh, this is this change, and I am manifesting that change. I'm demonstrating like, oh, okay, I'm this amazing individual. Um, the so that basic training gives you that. Uh, then I went off to the advanced training, and I started singing karaoke because I'd always wanted to sing karaoke. I'd always like sing along and be silly with songs, but I was just still the fear to do it. So I would drink about 40 ounces of Bud Light, and then have the courage to finally go up and sing. Um, and once I did that, and I did it again the next week, And like, okay, and then a little bit less and get up on stage, and the next week a little bit less and get up on stage, and after like what 2 3 months, I'm up on stage singing, the first guy singing songs. The anxiety, the fear, the adrenaline rush, it's gone. I'm over it by that point. Because of the familiarity with what I'm doing. So that's the where the sort of mentality developing within me that, oh, okay, stress changes you, and it's how you deal with and handle the stress. Like, what stress are you engaging in? Um, because stress can be negative if you're doing it wrong, and by doing it wrong is, are you forgetting the other? Are you um, getting so wrapped up that you're like I gotta focus, and oblivious to everything else. Then the stress is too much. You're doing the wrong thing, and you got to recognize that. Um, so doing the karaoke, that helped a bit. Um, Having a car helped my self-esteem, but that's a whole separate thing. The Let's see, go through the military and get out of the military, get different jobs, but I still don't recognize, understand the autism, and that was the fear that was holding me back or getting in the way of me interacting with people. And because, like, like, okay, I have to act normal, I have to act normal, around these people who I don't know, and that way they'll hire me and they want me. um, and just overthinking and stressing out, um, and like just hunting for jobs, but and the disappointment of not getting accepted. So, which definitely it has this very negative impact for neurodivergent autistic people. Um, so, and now it's what I realize, like, oh, it's you're not supposed to go out into the unknown and get something. It's the people you know. You're supposed to make friends. You're supposed to develop networks, and it's those people who will get you the jobs. So you need to develop your social skills. uh, and if you're autistic and neurodivergent, and you're around people who don't have the best examples of social skills, which could be your parents, yeah, that's a struggle. So it's like, things like churches help with that. The What else? But yeah, it's so getting back to parents and what can parents do, and this book I want to write. Um, if children will be resistant, children will be uncomfortable, but if you present to them these opportunities and encourage that, do this, do that, and even the little things, like, okay, do this little thing, focus on that, you like that, go for that, and encourage it. And by encouraging activity and participation in these whatever random things, ideally, um, it encourages the child to, like, I want to do this and participate more. They're still going to have the fear of being out in public and being on the social. So that's where, if anything, that's kind of where it's good not to have the parents involved, to help the child. Like, all right, the parent can only do so much. Here's a group. That group has an expert. Talk to that expert, and listen to the expert and try to follow. And this is where, like, the autism thing of, like, oh, okay, mirror and mimic what other people are doing. Um, but yeah, it's so those are some of the ideas. If I was writing them down, I could write out better. But I thought, I'd make a video. Um, that for parents, if you're worried, am I am I good enough? Am I right enough? Or am I going to do the wrong thing? Um, feel Treat the child like a video game character, and just give them a bunch of training and experiences, and encourage them to participate as much as possible. Ideally, the child will take an interest in something and want to participate and pursue that more. And then when the child shows that, that's when the parent shows support and encouragement and enthusiasm. Don't try to force the child to like something that the parent likes, because then the child will recognize, like, oh, this is, and that's where you start developing weird reactions. Um, Encouraging the child to talk about what they're thinking about, to express themselves, helps a lot because those conversations help the child be more comfortable talking about what they're thinking and feeling to strangers and other people, to feel more confident in themselves and what they think is important. Um, so, yeah, hope this helps.